You are in the middle of a heated argument. She is crying, begging for you to just understand her perspective. But instead of engaging, you feel a sudden, suffocating wave of exhaustion wash over you. Your jaw clenches. Your eyes go blank. You turn around, walk out of the room, and quietly close the door. In your mind, you are the peacekeeper. You are de-escalating. You are preventing a screaming match. But what if I told you that this exact moment of silence is the deadliest weapon you could ever use against someone you love? Today, we are going to expose the dark psychology behind the peacekeeper, and I will reveal the ultimate paradox that almost destroyed my own life. Stick around until the end, because the true cost of your silence is much higher than you think. I used to believe my silence was a gift. I honestly thought I was being the mature one, the bigger person who refused to engage in toxic yelling. I would retreat into my shell, feeling proud of my stoic calm. However, every single time I walked away to protect my peace, I was actually leaving her alone in the dark with her monsters. I was confusing emotional paralysis with inner peace. If this dynamic sounds painfully familiar to you, hit the like button, because you are not alone in this cycle. To understand why we do this, we have to look at the biology of survival. According to Stephen Porges and the polyvagal theory, when you walk out of that room, it is not a cognitive choice. It is a biological imperative. Your nervous system has evaluated her emotional intensity as a lethal threat. It has pulled the emergency brake on your humanity, throwing you into a state of vagal shutdown. Your brain literally thinks it is fleeing a lion. Therefore, your silence is not stubbornness. It is physiological paralysis. But where did this emergency brake come from? It was installed when you were 2 years old. According to John Bowlby's attachment theory, avoidant attachment is born in the cradle. When a child cries and nobody consistently comes to soothe them, their developing brain learns a devastating lesson. Needing help is useless. In Mary Ainsworth's famous strange situation experiment, avoidant children appeared perfectly calm when their mothers left the room. They didn't cry. They looked strong. But when researchers tested their blood, their cortisol levels were spiking off the charts. They were broken inside, but pretending everything was fine on the outside. Therefore, you didn't choose to be emotionally unavailable. You were taught that the safest way to keep someone close is to never need them. But here is where the science takes a dark turn. Dr. John Gottman spent 40 years studying thousands of couples in his love lab. He discovered that screaming and fighting do not predict divorce. The number one predictor of relationship apocalypse is stonewalling. When you shut down, your heart rate spikes above 100 beats per minute. You are emotionally flooded. But to her, your blank stare looks like hostile apathy. Fighting shows that you still care, but silence says that she is not even worth an explanation. And this is where the unintentional gaslighting begins. When she cries and you give zero response, you are entirely invalidating her reality. She begins to question her own sanity. She asks herself if she is crazy or if she is demanding too much. Therefore, your attempt to keep the peace is actually inflicting deep psychological trauma, forcing her anxious attachment into overdrive. The more you pull away to find quiet, the harder she will chase you to find connection. It is a suffocating death spiral. This brings us to the ultimate paradox of the peacekeeper. The very mechanism you use to save the relationship from conflict is the exact mechanism that starves it to death. Every time you walk away from a crying loved one, you are not keeping the peace. You are passing your childhood trauma onto the next generation. So, what is the action plan? How do we fix a nervous system that is hardwired to run? The answer is not forcing yourself to stay in the room and endure the flooding. The answer is somatic regulation and expanding your window of tolerance. Healing is not about never shutting down. It is about the mastery of repair. It is about learning to tell her, I am overwhelmed right now and my body is shutting down, but I love you and I will be back in 20 minutes to finish this. Brain wiring changes the exact moment you choose to step back into the discomfort. Look her in the eye and realize that the world did not end. The next time you feel that suffocating urge to turn your back and walk away, what will you choose? The familiar, devastating illusion of peace, or the terrifying reality of true connection?